agree.
Lawyer Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner. His activism on matters of corruption, human rights, among others, is well known both through the law courts and in the media. Lawyer, thank you very much for your time and good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Senna. Good morning.
I hope you're well.
Yes, yes.
I nearly added that you are a socialist, but I'm not so sure.
But enigmatic. I'm the mixture of all.
Oh, okay, that's great. Well, let's first start with your observation of first what the deputy AG said and the response from the OSP. Does he clarify the matter for you?
Yes, to some extent. When I say to some extent, to be clear, the last communication I saw on it, I saw that the OSP says they are finishing up, and so they will send the information to the AG soon. They said this week, right? They said they are finished, or if they didn't say this week, I remember there was something like they are almost done. They are finishing up.
Yes.
And so they will furnish the Attorney General with the information. So as I make this commentary, I'm trying to be careful not to inflame or stoke the fire. These things will happen. It's just that, you see, this one has come, that this particular part has come to reinforce the notion that there is something wrong on this Oforiatta case. We don't know exactly what, but there's certainly something wrong. I say so because, even when, when NDC won the elections, foot soldiers came out and started making noise that close the borders, close the airport, don't allow the NPP appointees to flee. So inside there was a lot of them. Of course, we could not have literally closed the airport like the way the foot soldiers were saying. But what they actually meant then was that ensure that these NPP appointees don't flee. Then the next point is that if you lived in Ghana here, you would know during the Kufuor's regime that every time we borrowed, Oforiatta's data bank made money. The borrowings that we did, the Eurobond, those kind of borrowings, they always made money. And so in the process, Oforiatta and Kufuor became very rich in a manner that contradicts Kufuor's own definition of corruption, because he says corruption is when you allow family and friends to take over government and make money from government. You remember at the inauguration, his speech was that if you want to make money, then go to the private sector. There is no money in the public sector. And yet he took over, brought his brother as finance minister. When I say his brother, I'm very much aware. You see, in Chi, there's no word for cousin. So I'm not using cousin. I'm speaking Chi English. In Chi and many tribes in Ghana, there's no word for cousin. For us, your cousin is your brother. So you bring your brother in and you make all this money. So long story short, even a child in Ghana knew that once NDC won, Oforiatta and Kufuor will have questions to answer. That one was a no-brainer. So for Kisiaja being to have sat down, OSP, for Oforiatta to flee from Ghana, no. It tells you that something is not going right. It smacks of incompetence. How? Foot soldiers even saw it. Foot soldiers saw it, that some people will flee. So they said close the borders, close the airport, close the borders, close the airport. Then you sat down and allowed Oforiatta to flee. So this letter saying that OSP was not acting fast enough, it reinforces the notion that there is something wrong on this case, something wrong. And you see, the moment citizens start complaining and making certain insinuations, I can't repeat them, and because I'm a lawyer, I cannot join. But I've taken notice of what they are saying. They have a right to say so, because this is a beggar's belief. Oforiatta, soon after the election, you know, and look at the next point. Can you believe that when Oforiatta left and then the matter came up for discussion, The OSP confirmed that yes, at the time Oforiatta was leaving, he did not know that there was any case against him. This election, December 7th, right? So by 8th, we knew who had won. So between that 8th and sometime in January, ending of January, that was when Oforiatta left. OSP couldn't speeding up anything to notify Oforiatta of 6 cases against him. I appreciate. I know corruption cases take time, especially when you're talking about corruption, often because the other party is not willing to say it. It can be difficult, but some of them too. I mean, come on. You've seen the money leave. So, Master, that money that has left, you have a right to it. Like Mustafa Hamid's case, you see that one has come out, they've shown. The simple thing that you just say, Mustafa Hamid, this money you are collecting, you, under Article 284, etc., are you allowed to collect this money? Once you are not allowed to collect this money, we are certain that we are going in the realm of what? Corruption. So the same thing for Oforiatta. She said they didn't saw money move, etc. So when they say they were still doing painstaking investigation, to the extent that you don't even notify Oforiatta, you don't bring him in and set bail. Or maybe say that, look, Master, you are not traveling. If you have to travel, come and justify it. If you have to travel, come and justify it. You don't do such a thing. Oh, come on. It tells you that there's really something. It's not up to the task on this Oforiatta case. He has shown a lot of incompetence on this Oforiatta case.
Well, what's your own suspicion on this something wrong matter?
That you know, as I said, because of my training as a lawyer, there's an extent I have to stop somewhere. At least saying there's suspicion that something is gone wrong in itself is a huge step forward. At least I've shown the basis. I have shown my facts. So for me, it's sufficient. As to what exactly it is, well, we'll see. Time will tell.
In fact, you were saying the OSP addressed some of the issues for you. It seems here also they've not addressed the point in the September 3rd, 2025 letter when they are claiming that they are updating the docket. Dr. Sremsai was asking for a copy of the docket, and in bracket, in its current state on the suspect, be an investigation report, even if interim, on the suspect. Any other information which you believe will be necessary for the purpose. Do you think the OSP's letter addresses that issue sufficiently enough?
Yes. So as far as the communication I read from the OSP, they said they are finishing up the investigations and will provide the information. I mean, if you can read it out from me, my sense of it is that they say pretty soon. So it means that for now, because after the time, we've already lost it. They said for 2 months. Yes, if you ask about the 2 months, yes. But now that the OSC has issued the letter, it means that we have to oblige them a bit. You know, initially, we didn't quite hear from them. But now at least they've come out to say they are finishing up. And so they will finish the AG with the information. And that's what I'm saying. So for me, it has come to reinforce the notion that there's something wrong. There's something wrong in this investigation. How OSC could have started with Oforiatta to go away without knowing there's any investigation against him. I mean, come on. Is this rocket science? Everybody knew that Oforiatta was all over the place. Look, Data Bank, Enterprise Insurance was taking money, business from the other government, especially SIT. People knew. We discussed this. There were many other things. Everything you hear, Oforiatta's hand is in this. Oforiatta's hand is in this. And you sit down for Oforiatta to escape. And then today come and tell us some stories. Oh, please.
Well, what does he have to do to convince you that he's serious about this matter?
He should. It's not possible. It's too late. It's not possible to convince me anymore. It's too late. But he can make some attempts. Okay? Yes. But it's just that they are not likely because it's done us a lot of damage. It's done us a lot of damage on this case. But he should attempt doing a trial in absentia, and let's see how that can give us a bit of what do you call reparation, so to speak, because it's damage that I think we should start the efforts on the trial in absentia because, look, in our constitution, Article 19, Clause 3A, it just says that, look, if we have a criminal case against you, we notify you and you don't come, the trial can proceed. Simple. If anybody stands on any platform to tell you that Oforiatta must come to Ghana first, attend court once, and flee before you can do trial in absentia, please tell the person to open the constitution and show you where it is. There were some common law cases which show that, a lot of the time, the accused comes to court and runs away. He flees, he jumps bail. Then the court will say, let's continue. That's the common occurrence, how trial and absentia starts. But they didn't say those are the only circumstances. No, they didn't say so. Our constitution, I know the constitution is higher than the common law cases we are referring to. The constitution says if you are notified and you don't come, we'll go ahead. If you are notified. So the key thing we should watch is notification. Good. So now notification, let me show you how we can notify Oforiatta. He himself has said, whilst in the US, he wants to do Zoom calls, etc. with OSP as a form of cooperation until he returns. So if he says he wants to do Zoom calls, take the offer. And before the Zoom call, and when we say Zoom calls, it's allowed though. It's allowed in the Mutual Legal Assistance Act from Section 40 onwards. I've forgotten the exact section, but it's in there. If you take the act and start checking from Section 40, you see how we can do Zoom calls, and it's allowed under the Mutual Legal Assistance Act. That act, if you just type the name into Google, Ghana Mutual Legal Assistance Act. From the word mutual, it means there is a law, it sets the framework for Ghana to assist other countries in their criminal investigations. If Ghanaians or any person has committed an offense and comes into Ghana, that law helps and shows how Ghana can cooperate to get the person to cooperate or be sent back to that country for prosecution, etc. So the same way we Tunando Oforiatta is in there, we can ask the Americans to take his caution statement. Yeah, for lawyers, so far the key thing they want to hear is, hey, the Zoom call, can the Zoom call amount to taking a caution statement and charge statement? Certainly not. But under the law, it allows that Ghana will ask the U.S. authorities to take the statements for us. Then after the statements, if there are any interrogations, Oforiatta himself says he will do Zoom calls. So if we are taking that and started, now the trial would have been well underway. Because this is what? September. If Oforiatta go in I say September, my apologies, this October, the 10th month. And Oforiatta left in what? January, the first month. So about 9 months. Yeah, because he left getting to the end of January. So we may even exclude January. So 9 months, a little over 9 months. You see, they haven't started. That's what tells. And Kisi is a very smart lawyer. Kisi is very intelligent. That one, give it to him. So no Kisi Jabe and the way he's dealt with this Oforiatta case, and it increases the suspicion that no, something is gone terribly wrong. Terribly wrong. Foot soldiers could tell you that, master, close these borders, close the airport, don't allow the Kufuado and his appointees to flee. You didn't get the message. The voice of the people is the voice of God. You didn't get the message. Because you're supposed to eat, sleep, and drink OSP matters, and you are not alive to getting Oforiatta. Release and they even come and confirm it. Yes, at the time Oforiatta was leaving, he didn't know there was any case against him. Hey, oh come on! I appreciate corruption cases take a while, but it doesn't mean you cannot inform the person and say, "Master, don't move out of Ghana. You are under investigation for this. When the person inquires, I'm saying that look, listen, I'll never accept it that just because you say corruption investigations take time, it means you cannot let him know. Look, when there is paper trail, you can tell monies were paid to some companies, etc. The things that were done, they were sufficient to bring Oforiatta, arrest him, and then admit him to bail and put conditions. You are not traveling. You see how later it turned out that Oforiatta was just deceiving Ghanaians. So if you needed to travel, then you needed to justify it. Anything he brings, that medical, this and this, then OSP also check with medical experts and determine whether he should go or not go, etc. So I mean, this whole thing there is terrible, terrible. Kisi Jabe should never do this to Ghanaians again.
Now, before I let you go, on another matter, there was that meeting between the President, the Attorney General, and the Auditor General, and of course the Chief Justice, to discuss measures for strengthening the enforcement of findings contained in the Auditor General's report. I think the conclusion was on the fact that they should set up special courts. And I'm sure you've seen the statement that was issued by Felix Kwachiofu. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's good. It's a great move. You know, some years ago. So what I want to say is that we should keep our eyes on the ball. Keep our eyes on the ball. Keep tracking media. Maybe a month from now, you go back and ask them, what update do we have? 2 months. You see, sometimes the problem is that the issues are many. So we follow one issue 2 weeks and then we leave it and then a new one comes. You see? Then, because this effort to prosecute them, that's the revelations from Auditor General reports are not new. Some decades ago, there were even reports, the cases went to court out of the Auditor General's report. That's after submitting to Public Accounts Committee. Then the Public Accounts Committee will say that, look, we direct that this person be prosecuted. We do, and some prosecutions were started. So there was something similar. It's not exactly, but I mean the whole idea that don't just go and sit down at the Public Accounts Committee and talk and go away. It's not new. So some prosecutions were started. Then after a while, it fizzled out. So this is a renewed effort. It's not totally new. It's the setting up of special courts that appears new. But these days, it was a fast track court. They say, so and so, they reported some of the cases were prosecuted as a result of hearings from the Public Accounts Committee. And as I mentioned, we lost subsequently. So, because of that, I don't want to get too excited just at the mention that courts will be created. Remember Galamsey, in the Kufadu's time, we were told Galamsey courts have been set up. Who did they prosecute? Untimi was walking around freely. We reported Untimi for 3 years. Had it not been for a change in government, Untimi was not going to go to court. And Kofi and Dampari were playing hanky-panky with us. Hanky-panky, putty-footy, on that Untimi and our Kunta mining case we reported. So as for announcements, yes, they can be exciting, but I want to wait, hold my horses, and then let's see. We can't start celebrating. We'll wait for results. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
and then
you.
let me quickly add that just setting up a court is not far enough. So we'll plead with President Mahama to also jump into the debate that let's create a new law that will stipulate the time frame it takes to complete a case once the case gets into court. You remember the opening trial, the other one, the NDC appointee. See how they were able to delay, and then when there was a change in government, they were able to get newly prosecutors and withdrawals, and they went free. And especially the Saglement matter, we want to remind the Attorney General, as for the Saglement matter involving Collins Dowda, we want to find out, let's do evaluation. Did we get value for money? The money we paid is about $200 million and over. Did we get value for money? Let's find out. Because at the time he did the newly prosecutors and withdrawals, that was one case that a lot of us said, no, fine, he could do it, but that's not the end of the case. Let's investigate. Set up an independent committee, right, to be able to be part of the evaluation process, to understand how the valuers go about the work and everything. Then at the end, we'll have a full report and then we'll debate to see whether we've received value for money or some people owe us money which they should return. You see. So that's how I see it. Okay. Let's not just start celebrating yet. Let's wait for the results. And so I think that if we set up a law that says that, look, if the case goes to court, we must finish within 2 years. That is our law. The Americans have theirs. India, they have theirs, etc. So we can set ours to knowing our circumstances. But at least if let's say we were to set that on the day the case goes to court, you have 2 years to finish, then every Ghanaian who cares to read will know that, oh, this case went to court. Let's say Mustafa Hamid, the Wallahi man, his case went to court on this day. It will finish maybe, let's say, a year and a half later, or so and so date. Then Ghanaians start counting. So it gives certainty and it allows for greater accountability. Because for lawyers, if you leave some, not all lawyers, some lawyers will go and then seek adjournment, hoping that it will go past, the case will go past the next election. So that the next election, there may be, if let's say a lot of these appointees are MPC appointees, so they will be hoping to drag the court cases beyond 2028, so that hoping that 2028 maybe they can win the election, so that whoever is the MPC person who is elected as president will come and give them knowledge protocol. Of course, in this particular case, their chances of winning are very, very slim. But you don't know politicians. They will cling to even a straw. Once elections are coming, they will believe that, let's drag it after election 2028. So these are candidates to win. Even when it's very clear that Ghanaians are not likely to return the MPP in 4 years. We will look very foolish if we did such a thing, because with the looting that they looted, how can you come back in 4 years? So are they the only people who went to school? So now me talking, me Kpebu, me to tomorrow, can't you vote for me to come and try my hands at something? So why would you go back to MPP? How? Are we foolish? You had your turn, they looted us so much. We still have a larger part of our population who have not tried their hands. They would also come. So for MPP to return in 4 years, no, it will take beyond a miracle. But yet, they will seek to delay the cases. So let's try and do a law that would ensure that we finish within a certain time frame. That will help us.
Okay.
So setting up courts is good, but the new law, Fair Trial Act, that's how they call it in other countries, Fair Trial Act, finish within so and so time period. Finish. Let's have a definite time that this case, it cannot last beyond this in the court. So then it's up to the judge. When he has the key, he will determine that maybe we'll sit every other day, and during each sitting, we'll do 2 hours, 3 hours. The rest will leave it to the judges, their experience at that. And of course, we are all learning. They will get more training from the countries that have those laws, how they go about it.
Okay.
So that's the key thing. And let's also mention that I understand in the previous administration, they were trying to do it. I don't know how far it went. And so we can dust up whatever they started and then engage the public. We were not yet engaged. It didn't reach public consultation stage. So we didn't openly discuss it on the media. So they can do it, then bring it out into the media, then we can join the conversation. Then we take it from there.
Just a small feedback. This is your colleague Lea David Ametepe listening to you. She says, I've listened to my friend Martin Kpebu on Ken Ofori-Atta's regards how the new government looked on for him to sneak out of the jurisdiction. If the information is that Ken Ofori-Atta left Ghana on 2nd January 2025, his party MPP was still in power and therefore provided his the cover to escape. President Mahama was sworn in on 7th January and therefore cannot be blamed for this. Regardless of the call by foot soldiers immediately after NDC had won the December 7 election, the NDC wasn't in power until 7th January 2025. Well, were you blaming the new administration for that, or you were talking about the OSP?
Today specifically, I was talking about the OSP. Now maybe Ametepe is coming back from the point that there were times that we also joined the new administration because, please, Senna, you can Google it. There's even a publication by Graphic. You see, the 2nd January he refers to, when Ofori-Atta went, he came back. Yes, he came back and then went again. So it's the second going that he didn't come back. And by then, President Mahama had been sworn in. And as far as he says he had addressed his letter to the Chief of Staff. There's something like that. Google, you see. It's verified because it's even Graphic, Daily Graphic that published it. You know, usually state-owned papers will be very careful. If they didn't know what they were doing, they will not do that. So if you Google, you see the story that says that when he was going the second time, he notified government. So government also shares a portion in it because what I'm expecting is that once the letter reaches the office of Chief of Staff, of course, it's impossible to say that Chief of Staff can read all the letters. So it means that whoever is charged with opening the letters and checking what is urgent, etc., he needs to be retrained on these matters. It means that he wasn't alive. I expected that straight once he saw it, he didn't even, well, maybe I cannot say he didn't need to inform Chief of Staff, but what I mean is that at all costs, the security agencies have to be informed. Because, Sana, the point we are trying to make, I don't know how many times we have to repeat it. If you live in Ghana, you didn't think the Furiata will have criminal cases against him, then you don't live in Ghana. So